Story 1. Not teaching responsibility because chores and accountability are life skills, not punishments. And not teaching consequences as shielding kids from all failure makes real life much harder later. Story 2. I'll take a different angle. I'm a mental health counselor. I think one of the most grievous mistakes a parent can make is not honoring the fact that during adolescence, a child shifts focus from seeking attention and acceptance from their parents, caretakers, or family of origin to their peers. They try desperately to cling onto their children and need to be needed. That leads to rifts because parents view it as disrespect, kids see it as disrespect, and it spirals. The method of parenting that most commonly leads to strong outcomes for children is authoritative, where one supports their child and does not hover over them, so as to let them be free enough to explore the world and make some mistakes. Story 3. Parents not acknowledging when they are wrong, never taking accountability for their mistakes, and never apologizing to their children when they mess up, never explaining why what they did was wrong. Story 4. Infantilizing your teenage child. I am referring to whenever they speak up about issues or feel certain ways, do not shut them down because they are young. Story 5. Several years ago, my sister and brother-in-law operated on the unspoken policy that if other adults were around them, those adults were now equally responsible for watching their kids. They would let them run out into the backyard and sometimes almost into the street, relying on me or other immediate family members to stop them. They would destroy the basement at my parents' house, and she would even allow them to come and wake me up from a deep sleep when I worked the night shift to entertain them for a while. Story 6. Parents physically destroying their belongings in front of their children. There are better ways of handling consequences for negative behaviors from the children or teenagers. Physical destruction is being a psychopathic bully. Story 7. Overbearing, controlling, not allowing their kids to make mistakes, emotionally distant, not apologizing when you are wrong, short-tempered. I can keep going. Story 8. Treating your children like adults when they are young, for example, letting your eldest daughter raise her siblings in your stead, and like children when they are grown up, such as not allowing them to make their own decisions about their life choices because you know better. Story 9. Not holding kids accountable for their actions is a problem. Of course, it should be done appropriately. But when you don't let kids own up to their mistakes and help them through making things better, you end up with adults who lack accountability and have a victim complex. Story 10. Ignoring a child when they are upset teaches them that their feelings do not matter, making them struggle with emotional expression and trust later in life. Story 11. Picked my son up from nursery recently, where another parent saw her daughter coming out of the room in changed clothes. She was told by the nursery that her daughter had an accident, and she proceeded to shout at her 2-year-old as soon as she came running towards her. "Why are you in different clothes again? Have you done it again?" She then said to the nursery worker, "She's acting like a baby again. Sometimes I just want to punch her." I was stunned beyond belief. I only hope my nursery reported her. Story 12. We just don't know what to do with him. As their kid is flipping out, causing trouble, while they sip their coffee and completely ignore him at the park, pool, sporting event, festival, or what have you. Story 13. When the 5-year-old who is not neurodivergent and has no disabilities still wears diapers and is babied. I run an in-home daycare, and it seems like parents just don't care about potty training. I think a lot of them want their baby to stay a baby forever. Story 14. Feral children disturbing other people's spaces with no consequences in sight. To be clear, when I say feral children, I mean young human beings who are old enough to grasp the concept of object permanence. I do not mean random toddlers throwing a fit because their mom bought Tide, which is red, because it is on sale, and not all, which is blue. Also, consequences doesn't necessarily mean punishment and definitely doesn't mean physical punishment. The parent being simply aware enough of their children and their surroundings and willing to forestall negative behaviors, whether through distraction, removal, or punishment, is all that anyone should request. Story 15. Never apologizing to your children, even when you are distinctly in the wrong. Also, raising your hand to your child for any reason other than a high five. Even threatening violence is pretty bad, regardless of whether the threat is sincere or not. Story 16. Never admitting that they made a mistake or apologizing, but instead making excuses or blaming their kids for their poor behavior. I only blew up at you because you weren't listening. Story 17. When I meet adults who really don't understand even the most basic boundaries, I tend to suspect that their parents didn't or don't model very healthy behaviors. Story 18. Oversharing your personal problems and poor life choices. I have an acquaintance who let her 14-year-old daughter know about her threesomes and so on. I don't want any secrets with my kid. Story 19. Because I said so. When punishing them, that does nothing but teach children that the reason you're punishing them is because you can. You should always explain why they are being punished so that they can learn what behavior is acceptable and what is not. Story 20. I have a list for this one. They killed my little sister. Never allowing to show emotion. Conditional love. If you did something wrong, you got punished. If you did something well, you received affection or love. Never letting you explore who you are, living vicariously through you. Sports, activities, behavior, etc. Silent treatment. Telling you that you should have been aborted or will end up worthless to society. The child lives in complete fear of making a mistake, 24/7. Telling your children that since you have the money, they are your servants. Calling your child a liar because something that didn't fit your narrative happened. Older sister was raped. They said she was lying. Standing on religion as to why you're right. Threatening your children if they are gay. Trading your own dead daughter's ashes for a chance to abuse the other two children who are still alive. Comparing your kids to literally everyone and everything else. I barely talk to my mom and haven't seen or spoken to my father in over 8 years. They are horrible people that should have never had kids. My little sister essentially drank herself to death as my mom completely ignored her needs, and my father was trying to find her, leading to her death. They are the type of people that will show up at your door unannounced, 1,000 miles away. They refuse to admit any fault in any of it. They are raging narcissists, militantly religious, manipulative, horrible people. I can't wait until they die. They are a cancer to all they come in contact with. It's not a woe is me, my life sucks thing, but I had to understand and realize that my parents never truly loved us. It was only to be their servants and take care of them as they age. I have no kids and now I can't, simply because I would not live if I messed up my kid or did the things they did. I refuse. Been through therapy 7 times, each with the same advice. Run. Love your kids, please. Story 21. Lack of discipline or aggressive discipline. Don't let your kids be unruly, but also don't just punish them solely because they upset you. Send them away, calm yourself down, and then call them back. Explain that you are disciplining them out of love, not anger, and make sure the punishment matches the behavior. Then hug them and send them on. Story 22. Manipulation. Authoritarian behavior. Beating, because let's be real here, we don't know how much is enough. Taunting your kids. You're not even that pretty. Being unfiltered in situations that require empathy, e.g., you wouldn't be in this predicament if you had good grades. If you had just listened to me. Gaslighting. Blame shifting. I couldn't get to enjoy my youth because of you. Bad financial habits. Entertaining toxic partners and friends. Being forceful with your worldviews. Believing a stranger's point of view fully over your child's. Bringing up your child's past trauma with other people in an argument. I can see why so-and-so treated you badly. You absolutely deserve to have been bullied. Name-calling your kids. Not going straight to the police when your child has been sexually assaulted. Forcing your child to abort or keep a baby because they are too young to decide. Assuming the worst of your child who you barely spend time with. Not defending your child from bullies. Not reprimanding your child for being a jerk to others. Enabling your child's bad behavior. Allowing your child to surround themselves with people who don't care about them. Allowing your child to disrespect you. Letting another child discipline the other. Encouraging siblings to fight or not intervening during sibling rivalry. Letting a sibling mistreat a family member. This also includes sexual assault. Not being supportive of your child's dreams. Not correcting people who compare your children. Not being your child's friend. Saying things out of anger. Entertaining a parent who does not bring positivity and stability into the child's life, including sexual assault. Sexually assaulting your child. Not protecting your child from obvious potential abusers, and that is everyone. Favoritism. Story 23. Treating the children as subhuman. Their desires, comfort, and quality of life are unimportant, but the parent's convenience is unquestionable. Discipline or punishment is designed to satisfy the parent's emotions rather than focus on the children's development and future. Clear and obvious favored or disfavored children. Most parents might like one child better but love them equally. However, your kids should either see no one as favored or each think they're the favorite. Story 24. Shaming your kids for their interests or favorite things. I stopped watching one of my favorite cartoons as a kid solely because my dad hated it. I never even tried to force him to watch it with me. He would just catch me watching it on weekends and mention how bad he thought it was. Fast forward to me now, and I do not even tell people what kind of music I listen to because I am scared of what they will think. Story 25. Your child has no hobbies or activities, especially if they've never had anything that they feel they are good at. Your child doesn't have a community of any kind. Your children aren't achieving grade-level work, excluding disabilities or developmental delays. You don't know what your child excels at or what they struggle with. Never being sober around your children. Story 26. Kids out in public barefoot. Grocery stores, restaurants, outdoor places, then their yard. People drop glass, needles, chewed gum. There is pee and feces all over the floor. It's not only unhygienic, but it's dangerous. I see it so often, and I know how hard it is to get shoes on kids sometimes, but it should be non-negotiable. Story 27. I don't know, but I'm adopted, and whenever I did really poorly in school, my mom would say something along the lines of, "There were so many other kids I could have chosen. Why are you so ungrateful?" Story 28. Parents refusing to get their child tested when they are clearly neurodivergent or have some other issue that may have a physical cause. I ran home daycare and one little boy around age 4 would not talk at all or even nod his head yes and no. He would not nap but lay rigidly straight with his arms straight down at his sides and hands curled into fists. I was very young at the time, and looking back I should have called Child Protective Services even though I don't know if they get involved in this type of issue. Story 29. Kids running around a nice restaurant or screaming without anyone trying to soothe them or remove them, and parents saying, "Kids will be kids," and going full overbearing customer. Substitute restaurants for planes or stores, or whatever you want. It's the same. Want your kid to get their energy out? Last I heard, Chuck E. Cheese is still in business, as is the playground. There are appropriate spaces. Story 30. Your kids destroying store products, crawling under people's stalls in the bathroom, throwing food at people, kicking seats in buses and on planes. Overall, just being a public nuisance. Story 31. The child will never want to have sleepovers with friends at their own house and will always insist on or suggest a different child host the sleepovers. I guess I'm the bad guy. I'm the worst mom, dad, or person ever because of X, Y, or Z, says the parent. The child, whether a child, teen, or adult, flinches as an automatic reaction to any loud noises or yelling. As the child, they constantly apologize or say sorry for anything at all, no matter how big or small, because their parents created that kind of environment for them. Not knowing how to do a lot of basic things, not just one or two due to lifestyle, but a lot, or doing things only in a particular way because the parents were rigid about doing things a particular way. The child was yelled at, shamed, or punished for not doing things the parents' way, possibly becoming anxious if, say, a shirt is folded differently than how their mother insisted was the way to fold shirts, even years later as an independent adult. Story 32. I've seen too many parents let their children throw tantrums in public and then just drag them around by the arm or have them hanging from wheelchairs or carts, screaming and not being disciplined. Story 33. You can learn a lot about someone from observing their pets. Our family dog, unfortunately, got attached to my mom. My mom has untreated anger issues and is really emotionally immature. She gave the dog attachment and abandonment issues. I too have attachment and abandonment issues. Story 34. Calling your kid names, even if you are kidding, is not okay. A family member of mine does it, and to keep the peace and my marriage intact, I keep quiet, but it is not easy. Story 35. A parent believes their young child is their best friend, partner, reason to live, soulmate, and so on. Let's normalize asking parents who make claims like that why they are giving their child an adult job. Story 36. Not demonstrating what right looks like. Saw a dad with a 4-year-old at McDonald's. Ignored the kid for 20 minutes and was watching some YouTube video without headphones. The first attention he paid to his kid was when his son said the food was good. His response: "I wish you'd stop talking and just eat it." The kid started asking him questions about heaven and the dad completely ignored him. 10 more minutes of shutting him out to watch the video. Then, "Well, look at that. You barely touched your food. I'm getting really sick of taking you here every day and buying you food just for you to not eat it. So guess what? When we get home, your toy's going in the trash." It was the saddest thing I've seen in a while. You want your kid to learn the value of food and eat their fill mindfully? Put your phone down, be in the moment, and eat your own. Want to impart values and morality? Actually take the cue and engage with them while they want to have these discussions. In a few short years, this dad will be bewildered when his poor boy no longer wants to talk to him.